Hello everybody, thank you so much for joining me. Polina here, talking to you a little bit about the moon and what is happening also with the solstice in the sky. The summer solstice in the northern hemisphere happening on the 21st of June, and in the southern it will be the winter solstice. So what do we have now in front of us? We are in Gemini, of course, and we have quite a bit of time to design our lives and to get really certain and even harsh on the details, to be very, very plain to see, to be very obvious, to be very beautiful, to be very significant, to be very efficient. It is a very, very good time to get very sharp corners and edges on your life, to build a much better, maybe quite primitive, but very ergonomic reality. It is about design. It is about redesigning your life to better suit you. It's about throwing away the bulk. It's like the workbook is gone and now you have a nice, definite experience or a very nice, definite design. Very good results. So the worst case scenario is people kind of like rubbling and bubbling and connecting with the wrong crew. The worst case here is people kind of wasting time, trying to stay pretty safe on who they are. It's not just about safety, it's just about kind of like boring but kind of sort of homely, wholesome ideas. Also eating very boring food, doing very boring things, so this is like beans and rice, this is like trying to do the same thing every day. Making friends in the same type of demographics that are not maybe fitting you, fulfilling you anymore. Sticking around, just kind of, sort of wholesomely, I suppose, meeting oneself or meeting other people. The results that I'm seeing also with like a couple of friends of mine as well, they don't want to say what they really feel. They don't want to be obvious. They don't want to be also great at that which they're doing. They don't want to be essential. And they're wishing for other people to kind of come up with the results, or they're wanting life to be kind of, sort of, in a way, kind of not too bad. So that not too badness is not really something that we need. I mean, this kind of depends on you and how high you can jump and how far you can go, because not every single person is ready to take that leap, although I would definitely suggest for some people just to leap. If they've been prepared, and also if they have enough sustenance, they've got enough money, potential contacts to do that. Certain people maybe will want to leave the country. Some people want to do something different or be with a new group of friends. But not every single person is great at it. Not every single person is open to this big build-up also that is happening in the sky. So I'm also feeling that quite a lot of people will have to go through quite a lot of different type of degradation, different type of also even abuse or crisis, or even a sharp, like just like a sharp change or loss, just to get that out of them. So some people don't really want to be where they are, but they keep on going, so they have to go into crisis. They have to experience catharsis, or like some kind of even emblematic failure, or like a very rough start to a situation, just to push them over the edge and to make sure that they are going the right way. So it's quite like a rough energy. I feel that some people will not need that though, and they can kind of see, and their eyes are wide open and their hearts are open enough to be able to begin new projects, to start fresh, to see life for what it is, to make meanings and to make designs with those people that really answer your calling, to give thanks to that which is really possible and which is functional, which is like radiant. So to me it looks like, before we go into Cancer, it is definitely about radiance. It's about accepting more ergonomic, easygoing, fun, happening things. Dependencies have to be gone. Addictions have to be out of your life. It's about a freshness. It's also about crystal clarity. It's about picture perfect ideas and people representatives. It's about many things that are fit exactly. So, if you're a little OCD, you'd know that satisfying feeling of fitting that jigsaw puzzle piece into the puzzle, and it works. It works and it fits perfect, of course. And you have this nice feeling of satisfaction, maybe about quite a lot of things now that are just golden. If you want, you can note them down, maybe in the last month or even 3 months, as Rabbit has been opening us into these new, fresh, and more eloquent dimensions. What have you gained in the last 2 or 3 months that has been just obvious, awesome? Where did you feel like you were growing brighter and brighter? Where did you feel that you were becoming more and more fun and youthful? Where did you upgrade? And how much time also did you spend on it? Also, we have to notice quick links. And if you want, you can write this down so you don't forget which person helped me the most this month, or what have I been doing that has been the most tempting or the most satisfying? Where have I shown up that has put a real smile on my face? Where did I gain the most also? As Jupiter is quite a little bit past the North Node, we still have to think about more economic ideas. Like also, for example, if you are with lots of different projects and jobs, what got you the first prize? What made you feel good about who you are? What made you instantaneously joyful, or what got a good audience? So we have to start to see this really well, and also especially pay attention to young people, up and coming people, new contacts, new designs, very lightweight energy or personality. Lightweight. It's about being light. It's about being light on your feet. It's about being happy. It's about holding space for the people that are really, really there for you. It's about being joyful, funky, loving, creative. It's also about being obviously happy, as we are in the peak of summer, especially in the Northern Hemisphere, as we are going into this year solstice on the 21st. This moon is going to really help us also get radical about wanting the best for ourselves, and where the person that you are or the people around you really shine, where it looks like everything is absolutely brilliant and funny. This is like the Sun card in the tarot, where things are absolutely divine, where you have done nothing but gain, where you reclaimed also something. This is also something that I'm experiencing this year. Some people will be reclaiming. So, for example, you've broken things down that were actually good for you, and now you've reclaimed that part of yourself, even that part of your body or your psyche, reclaiming also things that you used to be good at as a kid, like, for example, using that childhood hobby and being able to generate an income out of that hobby, or just doing many things that used to really satisfy you as a younger person. So sometimes it isn't necessarily about skyrocketing and going into the fresh and into the brand new. I feel it's just going into the happy, and sometimes it is kind of something that we have been a part of in even previous lives, previous dimensions, previous adventures, taking up something that your grandfather did and enjoying it and loving it and perfecting it. If you can do something in a day, this is really cool. Paying attention to things that can be done in a heartbeat. Also picking apart things that couldn't have been done. No matter how hard you tried, it's like the more you've invested your energy into this, just the worse it got. We have to really stay safe here. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, as they say. If you're really impatient, I can be as well. I've noticed that this month. But if you are waking up to the feeling of like, whoa, the more I try, the less I get, or the more I speak of this topic, the more meaningless it gets, or the more I'm investing here, the more murky or the more ugly it becomes. If you've ever painted a picture, like if you've ever been a painter or an artist, you'd know this. It's like sometimes you just make a brushstroke and it just says everything that you wanted it to say, and it's done. Like sometimes just in a few bulky brushstrokes, you get a beautiful image. And sometimes it's kind of an opposite thing. It's like the more you hack away or the more you patch away at a certain thing, like at a certain painting or at a certain piece, the worse it gets. And then it becomes porridge, meaning like all the contrasts are gone. It's not expressive, it has no soul, it has been basically pushed to a limit where it shouldn't be. Also sometimes relationships are like that. The more you communicate, the more you talk to that person, the less comfortable it is. And I suppose like where that's all, there is something fading away. There is something or even somebody that is no longer pure or purifying. And that we have to really understand. If, for example, you have a person, like a partnership, or you have a certain place that you live, or just a way that you're going, and you know that I'm not going to get any more life force out of this, or it's not going to ignite me. So solstice is about, I suppose, ignition, especially in the northern side of the world, the northern hemisphere. It's about light, it's about creativity, it's about doing really good. Like this is the top of the sky, this is about doing great. This is about the architecture of life. This is about also shopping, maybe for some people. This is about wearing funny clothes. This is about going to the hairdresser. This is about self-esteem. This is about experiences. This is about expressing yourself very openly and letting the whole world hear you, letting the whole world see you. So this time especially, it's very powerful. If you know how to sing, sing. If you know how to tell beautiful jokes, then tell the jokes. There is a gorgeousness and a level of colorful flamboyancy to this time. And we have to basically get it out there to breathe. It's like, and here is this drawing that I did last week, or like, and here is my best friend, or and here we are together holding hands, or like, this is the best I've done, this is the most miraculous. So this is happening. It's happening. And it's holding space for kind of every single person. So this like little cusp between Gemini and Cancer is not just about care, and it's not just the global IC. It's also just about growing things into just, wow, better, I couldn't have done it. It's like a real joy that one gets from perfection. And it's like, okay, look, you guys, I've done all I could, and here is how I decided to, for example, end the situation. Or this is why I'm actually here. This is the purity. So this is about all that bulk, all the dust and all of these different things going. And then there is this one perfect thing. My father worked as a jeweler for most of his life. So like, this is like polishing a gem. So there's these machines, they're kind of turning very fast, and then a jeweler takes a gem and they basically polish the gem against this very fast sanding machine. That's the kind of feeling I'm getting, and it's kind of dirty and the hands are covered with oil and icky things, and dust. And then when you wash the gem, you get this beautiful, sparkly and fine, beautiful piece. So that's like basically how I'm doing it this year around. The idea is basically not to concentrate on all that OCD stuff that I think some people are going to concentrate on. Not to give it too much thought, basically, because this can really drive people crazy unless you are free of thought usually, and thought right now would be really good. But if you are a natural thinker, it's going to be a very, very tough time, as I'm finding it kind of tough for me to connect. So this kind of depends where you need the equilibrium. So for example, if you're very kapha, so for example, you talk slowly and you eat slowly and you do your thing kind of like a little bit at a time, very beautiful time for thought, very beautiful time to update your thinking patterns, also very, very even hysterical time for humor and for having no doubt and for living your life as if it was never pre-written. That's the golden mean there. It's like as if you've never imagined yourself, like it's like an impromptu life. So you're not repeating those patterns anymore. So you're not just like day in, day out, day in, day out, because things are wearing thin. But then there's also this other side also for certain other people. Maybe it doesn't really have that for that color anymore. Maybe if you really love talking philosophy, and maybe you really love to share your time with people, you love watching TV or media or anything, like you love driving, or you love going places, or you love to get ahead, or you are a great concept creator, suddenly there could be a burning of a fuse. That's something that Gemini has really been showing me recently as well. For example, if you are like an extreme go-getter and you love to have fun, sometimes what this will do is it'll kind of put you like second place, or it will just try to tone you down in order to develop other things, other types of thinking patterns or other types of growths. So this kind of depends. I think that for certain people, definitely there's a lot of light and enlightenment and wow, hey, I got a great idea, let's try this, you know. So there's quite a lot of this kind of even circus acts. It feels very extravagant and very deep as to what people are committing to, what they can now afford to do, or who they can now afford to be, or where they're taking their business, or how they're using their word or their mind. It's very, very extreme and colorful. And then in some other ways, it is going to be very slow. And people that are quite often very, very like hard at work, or have so many things to do, maybe also have a lot of ego attached to their mind or ego attached to their result, might now not have those things. So I'm feeling quite a lot of us have to be very, very kind and patient, and also very kingly in order to grow. If you have been also murdering time, now this is going to be quite a big wake-up call to me. I'm actually noticing this happen a lot in my life. If you've been murdering time, for example, you've been trying to suffice, or you had a very stuck feeling to you, like I'm only going to do it like this, or this is how I believe in life, or this is how I'm going to take my next steps. It could be disintegrating, or it could be disintegrative. So some people are going to just get a big no, or like some people are going to just have to leave, or they're going to have to lose a lot, or they will not be able to participate in some things, as life might be saying, actually you've ground that down too much. You know, you've perfected that already, or you will not participate in this. So sometimes that is when we have to wake up. And also people that are overbearing, like say they cook too much or clean too much, or they make other people their saviors, or you know, their children, or they try so much to make contact, or they give so much to society, or they put themselves constantly in this repetitive role of being the one making decisions, or being the one trying so hard, they're going to have to get run down and run dry. So like, for example, if you are a repetitive winner, or if you are constantly doing something, or if you're trying to produce something. So for example, also sometimes people have overproductiveness in a way that just doesn't work, doesn't suit them. It's like people that keep on bulking up their portfolio, or they keep on bulking up their relationship, or they give too much love or too much confidence to other people, or they're trying so hard to be somebody. They could get very low battery during this time, because Gemini, in a weird way, as it is about this internal dialogue to some degree, and this inner leveling system, is going to basically dry out a lot of things, thinking patterns. So for example, having a failure, having nobody where before you had many thousands of people looking at you or connecting to you, having no money in the bank, you know, after like huge spending sprees, having nobody to talk to, having nobody to turn to, having nothing, like say having nothing, like having a house robbed, for example, during this time, or having nobody to hear you or nobody to help you. Maybe that's a creative option rather than a disability or vulnerability, or, you know, rather than a fall. It could actually be a way that life is trying to level you out. So for example, you have been paying too much attention to what you hold in your home, you've been obsessive about your house, and then suddenly like there's a storm and the house gets flooded and you lose half your things. That's not to say that this is a hopeful time necessarily, but this could be a way that karma might be leveling things out. If you are now experiencing extreme karma, like say a big breakdown of one of your systems, having a no-show, having somebody leave your life that you really love and trust, or doing things with somebody that is not capable of doing those things. If you are now kind of set up, not necessarily set up for failure, it's not about failure. If you are set up in the way that you are feeling, wow, that is like a weight on my shoulders, or there is just nothing I can do, or I feel very stuck, like between a rock and a hard place with how life has panned out. Maybe in a sense, life is trying to take you into a different route, and maybe also another route that you had hopes for is too exhausting. It would take too much time, money, or energy to make it happen, or it is uneconomical. So we also have to see where we've been doing things too much. For example, you have your own, like say, great, an Etsy store or something like that, and you keep on producing items. You haven't sold anything in a year, but you keep on producing items, and you keep on making deals and marketing it, and sharing it on Facebook and trying to get your friends to buy something. Nobody has bought anything for a year, and you keep on building rapport, or you keep on building community, which isn't going to get you what you want. So that's something that we have to understand. Or like say if you have something obsessive about you, for instance, it could be a grooming habit, it could be resistance to change, it could be obsession with information, it could be a mania. That is going to probably come through now. So if you feel like a shuddering feeling as if also your opinion that usually gets heard isn't heard, or your bank account that's usually full is now empty, for example, or your worth has been fluctuated between time and space, and you don't have that opportunity or option that you had before. It's like this uh-oh feeling. Try to take it no further also. So if you are now stopped from performing, for example, if you also, great, if you got like a fine, or you got asked to pay taxes, on something, like there's like a no, like, or you have been stopped on the street and maybe even searched, or you've been asked to not go past like a certain point. Maybe you have to know that there is a certain type of hindrance or a energy in that process that you don't necessarily need in your life. Also, if things get confiscated, like for example, we were at the airport just a couple of weeks ago, and we had a few instruments with us, and they almost confiscated a couple of our instruments, thinking that they had like feathers of endangered animals on the instruments. And one of them did actually have a feather of an endangered bird. It was like a shaker. And yeah, but that didn't get confiscated, and I thought that the drum skin on my drum was made out of bear, but it was made out of cow. So yeah, almost lost my drum. So like there are some things sometimes that happens. It's like once you get the stop, no, you can't go past this point, especially if somebody's fished something out about you, or there is a kind of weird way that you have been tarnished, like say your image is tarnished. If somebody's saying something really bad about you online, if you have had a very climatic or crazy thing happen, we have to find out the roots of that karma, because at this point some people need to see if they're getting a very rough jolt from life, like say their car tires have been popped, or like there was a fire in their house. Yeah, it's a combustible energy in Gemini here. Or if they've lost quite a lot of money, or they couldn't get something they were trying to get, or they were even laughed at, or nobody came to their rescue, they have to find another way to go. So we have to really now claim those spaces that are not difficult, and maybe even effortless. Creation, abundance that is effortless, people and conversation that is juicy and zany, and it's like water that is running free. It's like a river. So that's where I feel most people would find it better off, like find a better chance. And yeah, also understand when you were invited somewhere, or when all the doors open. And if you can't, you can't right now feel or see which way to go, try to get through this. This is really hard. Some people are really conflicted at this point, and they're in a shadow and light, keep on fighting. You might need somebody. Not everybody needs somebody. Some people really would be better off asking for advice, or like say going on medication or doing something different. But then there are some other people that need some thought and time by themselves, and also not to be afraid of not knowing how. And this is probably the hardest thing during this time, not understanding how. Like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. I don't know what I'm going to be at the end of the day. I don't know how I'm going to make this shine. But then there are lots of us that don't need that, and we just will have to just wait till the opportunity comes. So this is like fishing, so you don't have to sit there like in front of the river fishing. How am I going to catch this fish? How am I going to catch this fish? Try not to be sad. Just, okay, so you got your fishing rod in the water, your sinker in the water, fishing rod in the hand, and you just basically have to wait. And sometimes something will come. So this is like waiting for a taxi outside, or waiting for the bus. It's not about being destroyed. It's just about having some patience and resilience, and in certain cases just holding yourself together, and help will come, or a match will be seen for what it really is. And now is actually a really good time, just one more thing here, to get really enlightened by that which is just obviously obvious in front of you. Like, that's my match. Yes, la 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 la, but this is what I really love. Or like, this is the guy, or I really enjoy experiencing this, or like, this is the song. Like, there's a very quick and fast method that things get shuffled around during this time, and where you get that beautiful energy, and also very nice to see where you have been chosen and placed, or where you have been picked or picked out of a bunch. For example, going to a job interview and being one of 6 people that applied, and being the one that gets picked. So it's one of those big times, beautiful times also to enjoy the medley. And if you're going to spend also, especially like say this moon and the coming solstice in any way, I would go even fluffier than you've done before. Don't be afraid to be part of this roulette of people. I think that being in a medley of people and having your work float up online, enter your work into competitions, if you like, into raffles. Be part of a raffle, be part of a gallery. It's great to have your piece curated or seen by somebody during this time. It's great to witness something great or something extraordinary. It's good to go job searching for some people, especially if they feel that their confidence is really, really high. For certain people, it's interesting to see what's out there. It's good to see options and opportunities. It's good to see the marketplace. It's wonderful to be clean and choosy and bossy, and very specific also about what you need, what you are looking for. So if you're like a job giver, it's great to get very pure on the results that you are after, and the kind of people that you want to employ. For example, if you are looking for a house, like say to rent or buy a house, it's very perfect right now to be very strong and to know what you feel straight up. So you open the door and you know what you're feeling. So also quite a lot of people have to close down a fair few projects, and they have to no longer return. So also quite a lot of it is about snipping things off, and probably permanently or never again participating or following a certain thing. So we have to also recognize that is really, really hard to do for certain people. Some people are going to suffer, and they have to bring so much worth and so much care out if they, for example, have been snipped, or they're in the process of snipping something really big. So, for example, never showing up at a certain place, leaving town for good, and never coming back to the town. There was like quite a build-up of that. leaving a demographic or a social scene, having absolutely no way also of getting something back. So for example, if you lost your purse, that's it, you probably won't get it back. So that's like a feeling of not knowing how to also gain attachment, not knowing what to do. Also, some people will probably forget to call some people. Some people will not answer their phone during this time, or some people are off the grid or won't be back to where they were, or will never come back to the previous way of life. So we've got to basically be very, very careful with any kind of hyperkarmic things like accidents and any kind of really, really dark stuff, like where human life is a question or anything like this. So basically, in certain cases, some damage done also through fighting or through any kind of abuse may never get you anything, and also might never kind of seal. So sometimes things break and you can put them together, and sometimes that's it. So it's very important not to fight during this time and not to program anything. And then I know, like, okay, for example, there's some witches listening to me, obviously, of course, the witchy people. And you're like, okay, how do I program like this moon, or like how do I spend the solstice to get like the most, or like to get manifesting? I think it's good to notice. It's about clear eyesight during this time. See and notice where things are fresh and young and gorgeous, and where things are not working out. Also to be very, very aware. Like, it's about being crystalline. About the point of things and the worth of things, and the worthiness also of certain people in the story, worthiness of you, like how your talents or how your body is feeling, also like how your guts are feeling, if we're talking about gut feelings. But then also in terms of like programming the space and time, programming consciousness, like for example doing a ritual. Although there are some rituals obviously around the world that are coinciding with the solstice, this time don't. There are lots of reasons why. We have Juno next to the IC. It is impermanence. It's impermanence, and doing things in a young, fresh, frisky way at a drop of a hat. It's more about kindness and fun-lovingness. We have Mars next to Venus, also Lilith and Pallas together in a stellium, in a close-knit stellium in Leo. I wouldn't make it a big deal. Also, quite a lot of it is kind of like child's play. Also, the IC is kind of about hobbies. It's about crafts. It's about being happy. It's about being juvenile. It's about being ecstatic. It's about being healed in the heart. It's about having a fun day. It's about being positive and optimistic and just doing whatever you do. And sometimes it could be gardening or cleaning, or I don't know, tending, looking after the children, looking after the elders. It's a very, very fine and very also decadent time. But the minute things get too serious, the minute things get too strong, unless this is your MC, unless you have your MC in this part of the chart, if it's at the top of your sky, I'm sorry, it's just so hard. That would be very difficult. Depends on the chart. This could be quite difficult to match this information. But if your MC is not naturally landing on the global IC between Gemini and Cancer, I wouldn't give it too much thought, and I wouldn't give it too much feeling. So yeah, at the end of this transit, by the 22nd, 23rd of June, let things just kind of be whatever. It's important not to dwell on things, so some people find this brilliance during this time of year, and they want to make it their job, or they want to make it their blood, or they meet somebody and they want to be kin, or they want them to fund their project, or they want to make a friend that will be a friend for a lifetime. This isn't about things going forever. This is like about young, fresh shoots, beautiful happening energies. This is about fun. This is about eloquence. And yeah, this is about an ergonomic way of life, but I wouldn't make it the point or the basis of your timeline. I would give it away eventually. So yeah, also just very quickly here, like for example, you're making things out of clay or plasticine, or you're crafting, or you're going somewhere, or you're enjoying a beautiful day and you're getting an ice cream and you're walking by the beach with your friends. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. but make it fresh and fun. It's not a good idea to make it the bones and the marrow of your whole entire tribe or your whole entire world. Like, yeah, so like quite a lot of these themes we're going through, there are some people I've seen that are looking for family, looking for meaning, looking for like, well, what is this going to give me? You know, like, how am I going to end up afterwards? I wouldn't like sacrifice anything really big for this, and really big words like I will love you forever or till death do us part or all of this within reason. Like, it makes me kind of cringe during this time because I'm feeling that people are trying to get a result so much, they're too eager or they're too mindy about what that's going to give them. It's like, so if I do this, is it going to be a good investment? Am I going to make some money out of this? You know, so they're like too practical. So the best choice I feel at the moment is to enjoy as much color and vigor and braininess, sure, love or interest as you can within reason, but not make it your best of, not make it the meaning of your life. It's about a fun day. You know, it's about going out, getting some ice cream. Sure, it's about having love and loyalty. It's about, like, sure, meeting somebody romantically, fabulous. Venus is next to Mars. It's a hard job keeping that person around, or it's just a weird value system, unless you have Mars and Venus conjunct in your chart, as I do. It's just not a very interesting game. Some games people play are not very good games. You know, so trying to keep something forever, you know, like drawing a picture and thinking it's going to be on every single person's wall, you know, making I don't know, a cup out of clay and thinking this is going to be in a gallery, like, you know, I'm going to sell these for like millions of dollars, you know, like all of this like ideology of also like making things shine that are not meant to shine is difficult. So this is like, I mean, I'm going to try to explain it. So the root system sometimes is really harsh and dry, and it's kind of depressing. Like if you go into the roots of any family, there's quite difficult to understand maybe stuff, but it works and it's kind of there for you and it's going to be there. And it's not that it's not interesting, it's just very deep. Like roots are very deep, and we sometimes can't make them leaves. You know, you can't make a root a leaf, you know. But there's lots of people looking for foliage and life and care, like at the moment. I'm not kind of like telling you what to do here. I'm basically saying, lighten up, you know, have fun. You know, if you meet somebody new, yeah, it's a great time to have sex, you know, to have fun, to have romance, even extreme, explosive love. Love affairs can happen during this time, especially with Lilith next to Mars and Venus. Very explosive love affairs. It's just you don't need that person for forever, probably. So it's like inconsistent or impermanent love, or like fiery love or not very caring love can happen during this time. It's kind of not about being hopeful to, yeah, this is kind of how I'm going to try to explain it. It's not about like holding your breath, like I hope this works out. It's not about being hopeful like forever. It's not about like, say, telling the story to your children later when you get old and tired. You know, this is not about trying to make money from something that you just naturally enjoy doing. It's not about putting so much pressure and putting so much value and self-esteem in some things. It's not about counting on some things. It's not about counting on some people to be there. It's not about making somebody the king or the queen of your game. It's not about playing with people that don't necessarily understand you or they don't know your value. It's just about having fun. So that comes up again. It's about having fun. And it's not about being so serious anymore. And then, yeah, we're going into Cancer, which is family. You're like, come on, of course it's going to get serious. It's going to be home. It's going to be family. It's going to be loyalty. There's got to be all of those things. But what if I told you, now there's got to be a long video. My God, I'm sorry. It's like almost 40 minutes long now. What if I told you that you don't maybe even want it, you don't need it. So to make things so like healthy and friendly and wholesome and good for you to the point where you're like crying, this is how much meaning and sentiment it has. I don't think so. I think that this is a good time to travel light. I think it's a good time to be relative to everything. Like, yeah, sure, this is a cup of water. It's like, is the glass half full, half empty? Who cares? It's just some water in the glass. Just give it to me. I'm thirsty. Or like, I'm not thirsty right now. It serves a function. It's like, yeah, I could get a glass of water at the next place as well. It doesn't have to even be this glass of water. Doesn't matter. I could even, who cares? It's just water in the cup. So like all of this stuff makes people really uncomfortable, as they are already like foraging for meaning. And that's really bad. It's a bad sign if people are going around like, is this the one? Is this the one? Is this the place? Is this where I'm meant to be? Is this going to nurture me? Is this person going to sponsor me? Is this person going to hire me? And then it comes out as like, daddy, mommy, or like, will you be my son or daughter? Will you be there? So like this, will you be there for me, has to stop. So if you're already feeling this kind of neediness and the big asking of things to be there, this is going to send you into karma direct. This is karma direct. This is like a direct flight to Karmaville. So I would definitely try to replace those yearnings and wantings with something nice and fresh. Also, if you're noticing already, that you're very attached to certain things in your house, or you're very attached to certain people or meanings that you've made with these people. If you are very, very also perfect for somebody, they don't want to let you go. If you're feeling like you're like this little birdie inside the arms, of a person that's really dependent on you, this isn't great. This isn't going to start to change anytime soon. So being captive, having to sit in the same house, listening to the same songs, being in the same bed, like, oh gosh, a horror, this is not fresh. Like, is it unfresh feeling? I would definitely suggest already walking out of all of those tempting, lazy, slow, and disempowering things. Like mold, having a lot of mold in your house. One of the reasons why we're moving house, yeah. Having, like, say, weird neighbors, having to spend a lot of time indoors, being afraid of going outside, being antisocial, being glued to the computer, like also having your home within this bubble with this, like if you're on the phone, you feel good, you feel safe. That's also a way to understand comfort and loyalty as we head into Cancer. So I would not give it any more thought. Basically, where you have a problem. Like, say, where you are snacking on junk food. When you were like sitting in front of the TV, you're getting lazy and tired. Where you're gaining weight without need, when you are getting like just life weight, like repetitive patterns, people's thoughts and feelings. When it's just like this, where you've got too many items in the house. You've got too many items of clothes. You already know. And then that's when you need to be very quick and just snap it off, or try to find something else. Also, if you're a very needy partner, or if you are a very needy person, you have to close it off, because this is going to be very morphing and very kind of like this and like that, and eventually it's never gonna end. So to choose better, clean living, simple things, as little items as you can, as little people around you that argue with you as possible, as little things to contend with in your home. Like, my gosh, the amount of time I have to spend like washing this floor is incredible, or like the amount of money I have to spend like servicing my house is incredible. All of this uneconomical things. This house is too expensive. This roof is leaking. Like, these kids are too noisy, or like I can't take care of this, or my husband is not working, or he's not helpful, or I'm not making enough money to sustain my life, or I can't pay that bill, or like I shouldn't be in front of the TV. So all of that noise is going to be very hard later on in the years. Now you can just snap it off. So this is part of the magic of Rabbit Year. As you see it, you're like, that's not very well designed, and you just snap it off. and then you cultivate something else. And a lot of it is about culture. And maybe also, yeah, I have to say, certain things kind of depend on your life experience and life expectations. And I think quite a lot of people are molding their lives to other people's lives. And if they see that in somebody else's wardrobe, they will also have that as well. So some of it is also about throwing things out and having a certain demographical demise. So, for example, you know now that you don't understand somebody, but you keep on talking to them, or you're trying to imitate each other's lives, or you're trying to force light into a story that is getting progressively denser or heavier or darker. Maybe there is a need to basically walk out of a certain type of demographic experience or expectancy that other people have had on you probably for a long time, so that you don't need to play a certain game. Like if every single person around you is like smoking cannabis and, you know, going around and just sitting in the park and, you know, just whatever, and just like, yeah, and then you're like, wow, there's going to be like in my aura forever. You don't need it, maybe. You know, if this is getting drained, like if it's getting long, like drawn out, it's not fabulous enough. It's not fabulous enough. So just about going fabulous. And for some people, yeah, it is about criticizing things, including their own moves and gestures. But then also in some people's cases, it's about just moving on and being good at being left apart or left behind, and not caring so much for other people anymore, not carrying other people's issues or question marks. So yeah, you know, let's have a moment. Like you probably don't want to have that moment, so that's the thing. And also to understand, if you don't want to do something, you're still doing it. That's part of it. So if you do it early, maybe in July you'll be much faster and quicker, and you won't have so much to contend with, as Cancer quite a lot of the time will bring out dark night of the soul and a lot of question marks and things like that. And all of these people feeling very important, and of course the importance of their game, the importance of their homes, the importance of their money, the importance of their children. All of it is just like this big kind of like monster, you know. And then sometimes you just have the moment, and if you're a very clean person, Cancer comes, and it is a time to sparkle and enjoy rather than time to conform and commit, kind of depending on your karmic wheel. So thank you very much. Enjoy, and I'll see you next time. And also check out the links below. And yeah, hope they're useful to you. Thank you. Bye.